Okay, the crews were initially put into 5 tiers, which you can see on your screens right now. Tier 1 was Sweden, England, Germany, and Netherlands. These were based upon previous results, largely air. Tier 2, France, Norway, Spain, and Austria. Tier 3, Finland, Scotland, Wales, Ireland. Tier 4, Italy, Denmark, Belgium, and Switzerland. And lastly, in Tier 5 were Portugal, Greece. And you can see that they were drawn, okay, in our announcement stream into Pool A and Pool B. So we have 9 crews, okay, 9 countries in each pool. Across the next 11 months, those 11 events that I read out, we're going to have every crew in each pool play each other in a round-robin manner. So basically, every crew will play 8 crew matches across the 11 events, having some buys in there as well. The top four crews from each pool will advance into the finale in December. And you can see on your screen, we've got a single elimination bracket. The pool placements matter. Okay, the winner of Pool A will play 4th place in Pool B. Second in Pool A will play 3rd place in Pool B, and so forth. Okay, so how well crews perform across the circuit will specifically determine where they place in the singles bracket. Therefore, every match matters, and maximizing your wins and minimizing your losses is a huge deal. Because if teams are tied on win and loss records, the tiebreaker is stocks, okay? So stocks matter here, everyone. Lastly, for those teams who fail to qualify the top 4, so if you finish 5th to 9th in your pool, we'll be using those places to determine your direct tier for the placement in 2022, because we're hoping to continue this circuit yearly. Schedule is on the screen there. So this is round 1, is what we're going to be discussing with the panelists in a second. We are getting there. But you can see that we've got a clear schedule for Group A and a clear schedule for Group B, okay? These are all going to be accessible on the soon-to-go live S.A.M.E Circuit website, as well as the S.A.M.E Smash GG Circuit page, okay? It's also being regularly tweeted out by Smash Europe. If you're not following it, at Smash Europe is what you should be following for all information about the S.A.M.E Circuit. And now, let's introduce our delightful panel. Smooth. Our panelists. Here we go. All right. Let's start off, and I'm going to introduce them. In fact, everyone just give a little wave. Why not? Woo! A little wave from our panelists here. So first off, I've got Unhaven. Unhaven is currently ranked, and these are all from 2019 because of the pandemic in 2020 beginning. We've got ranked in 2019, 36 in Europe. Not actually ranked in that year for the UK because of inactivity, but he's back. And he's one of the top 5 ice climber mains in Europe. Unhaven, would you like to say hi?
Hello, everybody. Yes, that's somewhat accurate. I think those rankings are very, very now, but yeah. I'm just trying to get better. I'm in Kone's Academy. What do you want from me?
Well, there we go. They're obviously out of date a bit, but we're hoping that the new S.A.M.E Circuit will be the rankings basically for this year and give us some more like hard data to use. Next, we go on to Jim Morrison. Jim Morrison is currently ranked 4th in the Netherlands, and he's also the Netherlands crew captain for the S.A.M.E Circuit. Say hi, Jim.
Hello all. How are you doing?
Delightful. Next, I have Maye. Maye was in 2019 ranked 28th in Europe. He is ranked number 1 according to Winter 2019 in France, and he's one of the top 3 Marth players in Europe. Say hi, Maye.
Hello. How you guys doing?
Oh, where was the French there? I got a nice French.
Bonsoir, comment allez-vous? Ça fait plaisir d'être là. Merci à vous de m'inviter.
Lovely. Okay. Next, we have Nikki. Nikki is currently ranked 13th in Europe, number 1 in Germany. He was ranked 83rd on the MPGR rankings in 2019. Okay, is one of the best Fox mains in Europe, and is also a delightful coach of Kone's Academy, as is Maye, by the way. Nikki, say hi.
Hello, thanks for having me. This is going to be really fun.
I hope so. I do hope so. And lastly is Mo. Okay, Mo was ranked 30th in Europe in 2019. He is number 1 in Denmark, one of the best, if not the best, DK in the world, captain of the Danish crew, and also a coach of Kone's Academy. Mo?
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me.
Are we all excited, everyone?
Yeah,
I'm super
for
ready
sure.
to
There we
get into
go.
it.
What are our general feelings of this this same circuit? Are we feeling it in general?
Yeah, for sure. Of course. This is amazing.
Feeling it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes with a sweet spot of, everyone was hyped with Sleepy, but we didn't have much direction maybe going with it, which is like, okay, now we get to practice at home because we don't have anything else to do anyway, with the current times being what they are. But now we have direction, we have a potential for rankings, drama, storylines. I think, yeah, it comes at the best time possible.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like even leading past the online era to see all the TOs coming together and actually working together is like, this can only be good for the future. So no matter where you sit, whether online or offline, good things.
Especially with the new players, like the new generation that only knows Slippy, doesn't know anyone about anything, or all they know is the top American players. Now they get to know the TOs, they get to know maybe like the top European players as well.
Yeah.
They get to root for the country, which is always hype. So yeah, great news to me at least.
Yeah, like the TO thing is massive. We did something back in 2016 a circuit, but I can tell you right now, the organization that's gone into this is unbelievable. I got so much pride in everyone who's worked with it. Jim Morrison has been part of the same circuit TOs. We've been meeting weekly for about 3 months now to organize this, and we are aiming for this to be a yearly thing. And whether that'll be a mixture of online, offline next year, we'll see. But I guess for now, let's get on to this weekend's crew matches, because I'm actually more hyped about the crew matches than anything else than basically I have been in years for Europe. Okay, and normally crews is so hard. Like I put a big thing on air doing crews, but you still don't get all the best players turning up. Okay, it's just too difficult. Online makes that possible, and some of these crews are super spicy. Okay, and I actually am not sure who's going to qualify from each pool. Okay, so let's start with a Pool A match. And I believe we're going to be looking at Scotland versus Netherlands, which is going to be 12 o'clock CET this weekend, this Saturday. All crews are on Saturday. They will be streamed live, okay, on BTS. And let's dig into the Scotland versus Netherlands matchup. We're going to look at the squads, and I'm going to throw it over to you panelists, okay? Have a little bit of a discussion about which team you think are going to win. And for each of these crew matches, I'm going to be asking for your personal prediction, okay? And then when we look at this in a month's time, and we'll do these panels monthly, we can reflect upon who was the best panel analyst. Oh, that was not easy to say. Panel analyst, okay? So there we go. What do we think? Throwing it over to you yourselves. Let's start off with, go on then, Nikki. What are your thoughts on this?
All right, so I think the obvious thing, just looking at the rosters, is how stacked the Dutch lineup is. Because just having Amsa and Yapi, like, that's scary 5 years ago. That's scary even more years ago. I don't know when Yapi started playing, but I think he's been playing for a while as well. But then even in this year, in 2021, that's still a very scary lineup. But I don't think that Scots have any players who are as good as Amsa, but they have multiple players who are very close, and they could do it. If Yapi is still as good as he was in the Frontrunners online circuit? I think he played in one of those events last year.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, if he does as well as he did there, then it could be really hard for the Scottish team. But I think especially Fade is probably going to go under a lot of people's radars. He's insanely good. So if he shows up and if Fuzziness shows up as well, I think the Scottish team actually has more of a chance than people would probably say they have.
I want to comment on your Yapi because Yapi is very, very notorious in crews. Actually, at DreamHack Rotterdam, where we had the 3v3 city cruise, there was like a big storyline of Yapi basically destroying everyone on his own. And also at Air, etc. He does something different during cruise, so we're very happy to have Yapi on the team. I wanted to also... There's an important factor here, which is that Amsa is in the middle of like a move. He's got some real life stuff going on, may not be feeling it. So there is a chance that he may or may not play in the crew, which is quite a big deal if Amsa is playing in your crew or not. He actually asked us for like, do you need me? Because otherwise he may not play. If we say we need you, he's gonna play. I responded with the following. I said, if we can beat Scotland without Amsa, we're better off dequeuing from the whole event right away anyway.
True.
Okay.
Because I feel if Amsa is that big of a crutch, then what are we doing here?
Interesting.
I think we can beat them just fine without
Interesting.
Amsa.
I think it is worth highlighting that unlike every other year of Scotland playing, they actually have fuzziness on their team now.
Yeah.
And fuzziness is basically incredible at every Smash game he touches, and then just doesn't touch them for years and then comes back and is still amazing. Like it was one of the Beast events that he just came back after not playing forever and then beat Nintendo. Just like, okay, you're still absolutely incredible at this game. So I think, I think Scotland's going to be interesting because they've got all of their hard hitters plus Fuzzy. So if Netherlands show up with not all of their hard hitters, I'd be very surprised if Netherlands beat Scotland without Amsa.
Yeah, I feel like we are kind of forgetting someone who I think is very much a wild card and is a Dutch player, and that's Stein. And I feel like when Stein shows up, he can be, I don't want to say among the best players in the world, but definitely the best players in Europe. When he's really, really on point, he's really, really on point. So that depending on how he feels on any particular day, he might be able to take on Scotland on his own. I'll be honest. So
I would never do my boy like that, but I know Stein in Cruise is a little bit different beast, where he he has some performance issues in Cruise.
He's not the most stable player, that's for sure.
I was doing some research. I was on like generally of like everybody who's here and just trying to get an idea of like where people are ranked and where they weren't. And I've seen so many people come out of the woodworks. I think there's just something about Cruise that makes all players like, yeah, I want to play in Cruise. Like I haven't touched the game in years, but I'll play in Cruise. That's hype. So I think this is kind of like a really cool mix of just like the new school players and the old school players, making all the teams seem like really strong. Like they kind of even out really nicely, which doesn't normally happen in person. Normally you have like one or two players at the bottom that are like, they're a bit of fillers.
Yeah, and
sorry,
I think also a very important part of this format that we haven't discussed is that you are character locked beforehand, not player locked. So there's constantly still the threat of switching out. So like you can predict 5 people, but who says they're gonna play?
Yeah, exactly. Also the thing with Netherlands is Netherlands team is super stacked all the way through. While I feel like Scotland has a good like handful of 5 players that are super strong. So the counter pick situation for Netherlands might be a little bit like up the ladder.
Yeah. But I would say that I think the top 5 they do have in Scotland are all like very strong players. There may be a little bit of a dip afterwards, but if they, because I mean like none of those characters I think it's counterpicked too hard that it's like we're just missing a character. So I think as a team of 5 they're very strong.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with a bunch of fast followers and a Morpher too, right?
Exactly.
You don't really counterpick that.
I actually noted the following for like Scotland. Scotland crew is just Spaces and Marths, and they just have one Falcon that hard reads everything with knee, and so they're quite similar to our crew.
I feel like Shifting Shadows has a playstyle that fits crews really well because he tends to be super patient and is looking for these 1 or 2 opportunities that will lead to stock. And in crews, that's usually what does really well. Like you can think of like Mewtwo King, super patient, but if he gets you, you will get the stock away, right? So I think Shifting Shadows, if you let him just run the game, he can definitely be positive, take a few extra shots for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Getting him into Fountainelle would be one of the biggest, scariest parts for us.
Even Yappy, because Yappy would probably try to style too much, right? And in that matchup in particular, the Falcon who wants to style too much gets crouched upon and then you get grabbed and you're dead.
Yeah.
Especially Captain Falcon's such an explosive character. Like 1 knee or like just 3 knees and the stock's gone.
1 or 3 or
like somewhere in between. We'll definitely just take a stock, and even just taking a stock is really beneficial for an entire team and crews. It's not just about winning and losing the match, but how well you do within the match.
Yeah.
All right, then, panelists, let's do a little bit of a vote. We've got a lot to get through. I think we've heard the debate there. I'm going to just ask for a quick hands up here. Is anybody going to put their money on Scotland to take this?
I'll put my money on Scotland.
Yeah,
I believe it's Scotland.
Really want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Unhaven?
We've got Unhaven and Mo, going for a Scottish win. We've got Jim Morrison, Nikki, and Maye going for the Dutch win. Okay, so remember, we're going to be recording these, sharing them after the actual panel show, and we'll share it over the weekend, and then we can review these to see who was the better analyst next panel. Okay, moving on, I think it's time to look at the next Pool A match, which is at 1 o'clock CET on Saturday, which is between Belgium and Spain. Belgium and Spain. I would point out straight away, panelists, before we begin this, that I'm dubious about whether Triff will be taking part. I do know that he has a lot of school issues at the moment, as in it's stressful time for school, university, as it is for a lot of us who are still at university. I am not, but I know it is that time. I know that Nikki is nodding there. But yeah, what are your general thoughts? Who would like to start us off here?
I can go ahead, sure. I think if we look at the Spanish team, there's quite a few players that people might not know, but they're really good. So I know that Mel Mortis, he's like fairly low on the list of players, and just in the listing of the crew members. But I think he's really good. I think he traveled to some like out-of-country tournament a while ago. I'm not sure if it was somewhere in Scandinavia or anywhere else, but he just beat everyone there. So that's definitely a player to look out for. They also have Mara, their number 2 ranked player, I'm pretty sure. So I think they have 5 very strong players just in Triff, Lyax, K12, Mara, and Malmortis. I can't say too much about the other players. I know that Danieru also speedruns Mario Sunshine, I'm pretty sure, which he's really good at. So if they play that game, then Spain is probably going to win. But since we're playing Melee, it might be a bit harder. But I would still favor the Spanish team, even though the Belgium crew also has some very strong players. I don't know them too well, though. I know that Razor Ramon beat the German Peach player Blaze at a tournament in 2017 or something, and that's the only thing I've ever heard of, like, the player. But I'm sure they're good, but someone else we're going to have to enlighten me on how good they really are. But I would probably say Spain is going to win this one, even if they don't have Triff.
I was going to say, I don't even think this is going to be interesting to discuss for us if Triff actually plays, because I know Triff is probably going to 12 stock the crew or something on his own. That's what I think. I think it's not interesting. So I want to debate what happens if Triff probably doesn't show up. There, I
don't think Triff will be showing up this weekend. So let's go Triffless. Okay.
Yeah.
Does Belgium have a chance? Does Belgium have a chance? Triffless.
15%. 15.
Yeah.
That's my chance. Yeah, I think
50%?
Belgium is pretty good. And
Even without Triff, I'm like, yeah, I don't I saw I remember when like Sechi was getting really, really good, and then he traveled and then he played K12 and he lost. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, even back then Sechi was really good. So if K12 beat Sechi then, I don't think the Belgians have a I don't know how to rank how Sechi was at that point, but I don't think anyone was as good as Sechi was then.
Yeah, Luminary is crazy.
I definitely feel like Belgium kind of has to work on their Donkey Kong matchup. But
Sure.
as I see, like the matchup
sure.
spread, K12,
Yeah.
like these characters, he can definitely one grab them and kill them if they don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing. So K12 can really be a threat this match.
K12 could also just go Samus, and then all of those Spaceys will have no idea what's hitting them, and then they'll just get
I
down
think
smashed.
they have a local Samus in Belgium. Ferretti's
Do
brother,
they?
I'm pretty sure, plays Samus. It's not as good as K12, obviously, but they would
All
know
right.
more about Samus than they would about Donkey Kong. That's a guarantee.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's good
The
to
one
know.
thing that worries me is that when your best player is Ferretti, and Ferretti can very well get 4-stocked by K12, right?
Yeah.
That's a believable outcome. It's not impossible.
Yeah.
Then how do you win the crew?
Yeah,
Really, like, realistically.
Ferretti does well against K12, like taking him to last talk or even beating him. I think there's a reasonable chance, especially because I also think Ladder is not that well known. I don't think he travels that much, but he came to the Dutch Arcadian and he won the Arcadian. So he's like, he would definitely be power ranked in the Netherlands. And seeing how many foxes there are, and I'm sure that they're going to send in foxes, I think he eats those for breakfast. And you could probably take Lyax or Mara. Mara has beaten Amsa before, which is an interesting take. Spaniard never
I have a question about the format, because I see that Lunary, he's he only shows as a Falcon, but he plays Falcon and Marv. So
the
does he
character
only
here
get
doesn't matter.
if it doesn't
This
show
one
mark.
was not locked in because we didn't ask players for
Oh, okay. So that's not a lock in. So that he
This is
still
not
gets to
lock-in.
go Marth if he wants to.
Yeah, you can go anything you want. You just have to confirm it before the match.
Yeah,
Before
10
the match
minutes.
specifically.
Yeah, 10
Yes.
minutes. The same TOs will confirm the character locks. So it'll be confirmed
Right.
10 minutes before. But you are right. Lunary could go Marth because if you look at the Belgium team, you're looking at Fradit, Lunary, Ladder, Guacamole, and Razor. They're their top 5, and there's 2 Falcons in there. So it could be, you could see Lunary maybe using Marth instead. Although that would obviously be 2 Marths as well. But there are a lot of Foxes on the Spanish one.
Pretty much. So random fact about Razor Ramon is that when I first started playing the game, it was me and Sam playing basically almost no one else. And Razor Ramon back in the day was called CBT Plus, would come from time to time to Lille and destroy us for entire afternoons. It's kind of like my first teacher of the game.
Ooh,
Back in
that's,
the day.
that's cool.
That was like 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Wow.
I
Razor
actually
Ramon.
know that. I know that tag, and I never knew that was Razor. That's
CBT
really cool.
Plus, right? He used to play
Yeah,
a lot of that wasn't him. No, never mind. I was going to say something random, unrelated. But he was really good. He was definitely best player in Belgium. Then he kind of left the game for a long time, came back, and he's still in the top like 3 players ish.
Cool. I think it's let's do a vote on this one then. So who thinks Spain are just going to be too strong and overwhelm, even if it's Triflis, overwhelm this Belgium side? Hands up for Spain. All right, that's a whitewash. That is 5 panelists saying that Spain will win.
So, what do you vote?
Oh, I'm not voting. I haven't
recording
voted.
your vote as well.
Do I get a vote?
Yeah, you
What?
get a vote.
Oh, cool. I just thought I was just the TO who doesn't know much and is just hosting this.
No, I assume you voted the Netherlands, right?
Yeah, I did vote the Netherlands for the
All right,
first
now
one.
you're
Sorry,
voting
my
Spain again?
Scottish homies, but yeah, Netherlands the first one, and I'm going Spain here as well. I'm sorry, Razor. I do love you, Razor, but no. Right.
You're gonna get washed.
Let's go on to our first Pool B match, and we're going to be looking at. Let's have a look. Norway versus Italy. So this is at 2:00 CET this Saturday, all on BTS. And we're looking smooth. We have a wrong graphic. We are going to correct that very soon. So it's Norway versus Italy. I'm going to just do a bit of a disclaimer here for those who are watching watching this live. We are very aware of the Serrateur situation. To make it very clear in terms of safeguarding is paramount and very important to all TOs. I'm currently doing so much work behind the scenes with Team Air and safeguarding, okay, to ensure that when it comes to Air in 2022 and any other event in Europe, I'm going to try to push what we've learned through Air out into the community. And I can also see what communities are doing in terms of their own country panels and in terms of their back rooms. Safeguarding does matter, and the Serrateur situation is currently being reviewed by the Smash Europe back room. Smash Europe back room is collaborating right now with all country back rooms and panels, okay? And a decision will be made within the next week. We're hoping sooner, but within a week, whether what the advice would be in terms of a Serrateur outcome in terms of participation across events, and obviously that includes the same circuit. So for the rest of this discussion, we are going to review this matchup between Norway and Italy as if Serrateur is taking part, and then we'll do it as if he's not taking part. But we're doing this purely from a Smash point of view. We appreciate the safeguarding, and clearly it matters. And clearly as a circuit, we are waiting for the advice from the panels, from the back rooms, collaborating with the overall Smash Europe back room to inform us on what guidance and outcome we should take as a circuit TO. So please don't think we're ignoring the issue. In fact, it's been worked on for a long time in the background. Okay, it's a regular conversation, and information has been collated across multiple agencies. It is happening. Okay, just give us a little bit more time on that. But let's get to the Smash. So we're just going to review the Smash now. We'll look at Italy and we'll look at Norway, and we'll include and disclude in the conversation. So let's start this off. Maya, I'm going to start with you. Italy, do they have a chance in this, or are we leaning Norway?
I think honestly, I'm going to be leaning on Norway. I'm a bit disappointed that Zork is not showing up. I was hoping he would come back for this, but he's not. What?
Or Pricent, he's not on the crew either, right?
Or Bryson, hey, that's fair. Sometimes I forget he's even Norwegian because, but yeah.
Or even Voff. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I've never known.
Woffe? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he Norwegian?
He's
Yeah,
Norwegian.
Norway kind of.
Yes, that's a lot of players they're missing, like
Yeah.
some of their best players as well.
Yeah.
But even then, Sverre is really strong. Nintendo has the advantage of being an ICs, and even with wobbling off, it can be super scary to face in the crew battle.
On top of that as well, like Nintendo, I think is like he's proven that, as you say, with wobbling off, I don't really see it's affecting him that much. Like from what I've seen, like I've watched a few of his games, and his punishes are still incredibly strong off grab, as they should be. It's like saying, oh, if Marth can't wobble, then what good's Marth? It's like, no, that's not the case. Marth is amazing off grab. So are climbers. But yeah, with like Nicholas as well and Whittle, they're so good. I don't see.
Do you think we'll see Nicholas and Cruz, or is that risky
No,
to go Young Link?
No, it isn't. Nicholas is straight up
good.
just really good. Like, it's not just he's Young Link and people don't know the matchup. He is just really good. Like, he could even beat Zerator, like Italy's by far best player.
Yeah.
I've been, like a year and a half ago or so, I decided to create like an EU top player Discord. And then in order to like keep that in check and not have too many people in there, I would always check everyone's results before allowing them to join. And then, Zerator has some really good results. Like, I played him at Awakening 5 in a money match, and like I barely won 3-2. And then he's beaten Pipsqueak in an online tournament fairly recently. I think it might have been like half a year ago, but that's still fairly recent to me. So he's really good. But then Nicholas is also 3-0 Frenzy. So like if your best player just loses to the Young Link, it's over. Like no chance. Like done.
And you have to call it what it is. He has very obnoxious style to fight against. And in crews that can snowball so hard when you have to face a camping Young Link, and I guess we don't get the offline chance to go with it, right? Because if you're facing that and the crew is also chanting against you, then good luck keeping your mental in check. So like even online, the stress from crews and the difficulty of facing something that you're probably not used to at all, the matchup and the playstyle, I think that's a lot of hardships to go through personally.
Yeah, like
not easy.
I played Nicholas once and was so unbelievably unprepared for his playstyle, and even regardless of like doing mental damage of playing very defensive, just having zero experience was just like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know how to approach this, and I imagine
how do you even DI the bombs? No one
exactly. Yeah, Nicholas knows how you should DI those bombs.
I like Nicholas, but I think like Sverre is really like. Can we just overlook Sverre because he recently like went off as well, right? And that dude is just amazing. I think he could beat the crew on his own almost.
Yeah,
I think I really like the character diversity in the Norwegian team as well. I know we've got like 3 foxes in the middle there, but we've got Sverre, Josie Jam, who is on the way up as well. Nintendo, you've got Valani, so they've got a Jigs in there if needed, who's starting to get better results. Niklas, Whittle, and then they've got the series of foxes as well. There's Sheik in there. I just think that's a really well balanced and pretty worrisome crew to come up against. And I just don't know if Italy's got the tools overall. And to be honest, I'm not even that informed with some of these Italian players. Can anyone cast any light on the other Italian players?
I think Mirko is probably considered one of the best, right?
Yeah, I've played him before. He's not bad. Like he does smart things and really plays Marth. Kind of textbookish, but as like Norway has so many counter picks to this, especially with Nicholas. I feel like Nicholas is gonna be one of those players that is just gonna destroy their ICs and Marths.
Yeah. I just want to rebound on the fact that you called Mirko's textbook because I think he's a very gimmicky Marth, and I'm not even saying that in a bad sense. I think he really relies on all ins in neutral, and that can sometimes pay off. But against characters like Falcon, Young Link, Puff, that's just useless. That's not how you play these matchups at all, right? So like force smashing in neutral is just gonna get you killed 4 times in a row. So I'm not sure. I've seen Mercuro do well versus Marth versus Fox, but I'm not sure how well he can do in the slower paced matchups where it's more like a chess kind of neutral. I would like to see it before but I'm not very favorable on how he can perform.
Yeah, I think for Italy, Norway is like the best crew that they have even chance of upsetting, and I'm actually putting Norway below Finland and Ireland there because they're missing their best players. Otherwise, Norway would definitely be up there for first place in this crew possibly. But for now, like if they have Saratur, there's like a small chance. If they have no Saratur, there's absolutely no chance, none.
I think I think we should vote on this then. Is anyone going to give the Italians a chance here? Anyone going Italy? Hands up. Okay, I think that's a six panelists going towards Norway. Italy, okay, I hope you prove us wrong and we have a more competitive match this Saturday. Okay, and yeah, we'll see how Norway Italy goes at 2:00 CET Saturday on BTS. I'm going to move in to our halfway point here. We'll be on our 4th out of 8 crew match reviews, and we're looking at 3:00 CET this Saturday between Portugal and Austria. So Austria got a tier 2 seeding, and Portugal were just one of 2 countries given the bottom tier 5 seeding. Portugal, any chance?
Look, I love Portugal.
Jim laughed straight away. Oh,
I love Portugal, but this is not going to be close. There is 0% chance unless Austria sends in their B crew. Portugal is going to have to rely on Austrian players not showing up.
But if you look at what players Austria actually has, like all of those players are good. Like every single one of those players is probably better than some of the best Portuguese players. So even if Austria sends the worst out of the players they've got written down there, then I think it's not going to be possible. But I'm a big fan of Portugal. They have been doing a great weekly tournament. Yeah. I know their scene has like grown a lot recently. So I would really be happy if they get the win, but I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I agree with Nicky in the sense that Portugal 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they didn't even exist, honestly. So I think if they can get away with showing a good performance, showcasing some of their players, that's good enough. But I also agree with like Portugal's best 5 will probably not be favored against Austria's worst 5. And like if Austria just shows up with the 18, it's just 0 chance to me. I don't see it's not happening.
I would say I am pulling. I actually love both these crews. Okay, I'm a big Austria fan, clearly from Air 3, and for getting into grands there. And obviously they beat England and they beat Sweden and winners there. So I've always loved the Austrians since then, and I'm just happy to see the likes of Aries and Glory actually taking part, because originally they weren't in the squad. There's a few others, if you're listening, that I would love to see in there. I would love to have seen Bandy or Ramon or even a .T knocking about, although I don't know how good some of these still are because they've been inactive. But Portugal, I'm oddly in the Portuguese Discord, and I have been for some time. And actually, I just love their community. I like their vibes. I like how much they're into Melee. They have this awesome 2 events going on a week basis, and they are getting better. And I know the likes of Raiden and Apollo, Rory X, Crystal, they are starting to perform better when they are playing outside of Portugal as well. So I think I just want to see them do well across this circuit. And I just like the fact that Portugal is a team that we just didn't have, like Maye said, we do now have. And I hope this just kind of motivates them to get better as well. And, maybe Austria might be too much, but hopefully they can kind of maybe move out of tier 5 into next year. Anyone got any other thoughts on the Austria-Portugal matchup?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I think Austria is just basically out of their league. Like other matches, they could do it. Like against Denmark, there's maybe a small question mark. Sorry, Mo. Against Italy, I think that could be a competitive match. But against Austria, no, it's too much, man. They brought so many good players. They got Timmy and Kiwi, Yogurt, Paradox. I don't even know if Glory is good enough to play on the crew for top 5.
Oh, come on!
No. I mean, if you're even questioning that means the crew is so fucking stacked.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
They
have so many good players.
Glory is an amazing sheik. Let's be honest. So, if you have to question whether he can deserve it, that means Portugal is in a lot of trouble.
To me, if I'm choosing a team there with Austria, I'm going. You got Glory, Clemens, Timmy, Aries, and then you have someone else. Like Aries is still a very, very capable peach. He's just one of these players that he's always going to be a hidden boss, and when he comes out, he does better than you think. So
isn't that the Nun Slayer?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he beat None. Yeah, Air 3. Yeah.
It's always
Glory also beat None, actually.
At a local. Yeah, before Don't Park on the Grass 2018, when Hayden flew out all the Europeans. But None was, I'll just say he did it. He beat him. Nothing else to it.
Glory, right?
All right, let's do some voting on this. Hands up. Is this going to just be a Austria whitewash? Hands up for Austria. All right, so
it's too much.
It's very cool that Portugal are here. I think that's.
I love Portugal. I love the Portuguese.
I'm rooting for them. Yeah.
They've got a fan here, okay, but I think this is maybe a little bit too much for them. Okay,
so
then.
far, we're very in line with each other. It's all been unanimous except for the Netherlands against Scotland.
I think it might get a bit tastier in the last 3.
I agree.
Yeah, I think the next matches are going to be much different.
Okay, so what we're going to do then is go on to the next matchup, which is taking place at 5 o'clock CET this Saturday, BTS. No, I'm not yet. And this is between Wales and Germany. As I say, I said it's going to get a bit tastier in the last 3. This is not the last 3, okay? Say that as nicely as I can to the Welsh team. So this is another Pool A matchup. And Nikki, you are the crew captain for Germany. Wales, what are your thoughts? Are you worried about this Saturday, or are you just kind of taking it at a leisurely pace?
I'm pretty sure that Bo beat Riggs at one of those 20XX tournaments, but I'm pretty sure Riggs had just been playing like on his own box for like a few weeks, and Riggs still like barely won the set. So if like one of our players can beat one of their players with a controller he hasn't even played on for more than a month, then I think overall it's probably going to be fairly easy. I think even if not all of our best players show up, which might happen just because like it's Wales, why would some of them bother to show up? Now then we're probably still going to win. But I do think the Welsh team is probably going to have a lot of players that we will underestimate just because like you don't see the Welsh players that often at like the outside of UK tournaments. So I'm definitely not sleeping on anyone. I'll do my very best and just like make sure that right at the start they know their place. But I'm a notorious choker in crew, so I might just get like kneed 5 times by Captain Falcon and lose, and then my entire crew panics and we lose. So I think there is a world where we lose this.
Didn't you beat left in crews?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I went 1-for-1 with him in stocks because he has speed. And I'll
Nikki,
take that.
I appreciate, Nikki, that you're being all polite and cute, but I'll do trash talking for you if I have to, but come on.
No,
the German team is...
I'm going to speak for Nikki because he's being too polite. There is not a single universe in which Wales is going to win this.
No.
And I give Germany over 50% chance to win this with at least 9 stocks for the bonus point.
So you've got to remember that we have to... As a head TO, I always think you have to inform your seeding based upon like the hard data, the evidence you've got. It shouldn't be going on your gut or anything like that. On my gut, I can say I feel like Wales was overseeded, okay, in terms of the tiers.
We thought she was going to join.
Exactly, but that's what I was about to say, because no one's mentioned it yet, but that's because of Sechi, right? Okay, previous performances have been informed by Sechi and the fact that Wales used to have Idsar, but obviously he's moved now to England. So without those two, I don't know if the seeding for Wales is that accurate. I don't know if they've got... I don't even know if they would have a chance even if they did have those players, and without them,
probably not. Yeah.
I mean, let me ask you guys a question, because we were wondering for Austria what 5 players would we send. Look at the German crew, and can you instantly figure out which 5 are going in?
No.
They could send anyone in.
Literally any of the 10.
Yep.
How can Wales even come close to comparing?
I love the Welsh team so much. I love all those guys. They some of them are my best friends. I love them. But they could all together. It's possible all together they could beat Nikki.
Oh no!
Yeah, no.
Maybe.
If I go Ice Climbers.
If you go Ice Climbers, etc.
I'm betting all my money on G.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
but
also
yeah,
happy that we have Karon now as well. That Karon had like such a great showing at the last Levo, I think it was, where he beat Mint and like nearly Frenzy as well.
2
So
Levos ago, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
And
yeah,
I think
so like
Vivi is so underrated too, right? Because I think he beat McKenzie recently or
he
something.
beat McKenzie, yeah.
And
So
he's
Oh, wait a
super
minute, wait a
good.
minute. I've heard Vivi's being coached by someone at Kone's Academy.
yeah, he's randomly gotten super good the last year. I don't know why that would be.
How come? It's random.
Yeah.
I've been coaching Vivi for a while now, and he's super good. He has a great mindset regarding the game. We did a lesson just today, actually, like 2 hours ago. So he's definitely ready, and I don't think, I think the question is, do they take half our stocks or do they take less?
Yeah.
Thank you for being honest now.
Yeah.
Trash
So here we go.
them.
Everyone,
I'm sorry.
we've heard from everyone. Mo, are you giving the Welsh lads any chance here?
I just want to see G do well.
We all love G.
I
We all
love him. I love that guy. But yeah, it's Germany.
All right, let's just make this formal. Hands up if Germany is going to win this encounter. Yeah, that's another 6-0. Okay, I did say there was going to be some tastier matchups. Hopefully, the last 3 are a little bit tastier. I definitely think the last 2 are. We're going to go into the second, the last, the fourth Pool A matchup, which is Switzerland versus France. Switzerland versus France. I think a couple of years ago, this matchup might have clearly been on the French side.
Yeah.
But I think there's more discussion and debate to be had here. I heard a solid yeah from Jim there. Jim, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, dude. Switzerland is for sure my dark horse candidate. I think they have the potential to really outperform where they would normally be seated. Like they have Ja Raiden, obviously. They also have Ravio, Alan, who we don't often see. They have Joy Boy as well, like Asamus, who's pretty good. And they also have, like, for the 5th player, a lot of spots that they can swap in. France has so many good players, but I think it's possible. The character spread is also interesting, and especially Jaridin has to do major work for the crew, and the rest can then possibly clean it up. But if Ja doesn't go big, then there's no. It's gonna be too much. But I think there's such a good shot for them, like at least 30%, which I think is good for Dark Horse.
I just want to shout out my boy Nero real quick, because I think it's obvious that he will make it in. Like, he's probably number 2 in the country. I don't see him being out of Cruz. And then Black Haze has been improving leaps and bounds recently. But even then, we have Seer. That's it.
Right. I know. I saw the Le French Melee tweet earlier about how Seer had basically dogged Switzerland years ago.
Yeah.
But it's not the same anymore.
It's not the same. I was fucking around because back then, Seer took all stocks from Switzerland 2 years ago. He was on his own, and I think he lost maybe 1 stock out of 6. Like, he took 16, losing 1 or something. He was powered by wine and. That was
the Swiss scene has massively got better though, and they put in the effort. The Schweiklies, I find it really awkward to say it. The Schweiklies is that is growing as a thing. Huge numbers there. I know a lot of these Swiss lads and lasses are in Kone's Academy. I know that they're being coached. Okay, like I've made in China is making improvements recently. And then you look at the French squad. I was so excited when I saw the French squad. Okay. There's one clear player missing here, McKenzie. I know there's issues there. I don't know if we want to get into that. Maye, he doesn't.
Whatever, man. It's just he. I don't know. I don't even know why. I asked him the other day. He was like, "I will never play for the French crew again. I think it's ego. I don't care. I'm disappointed. He knows. That's good enough for me."
Yeah, I made him known as well, but. At the same time, like when I saw it, I was like, "Whoa, we've got Sia here, we've got Tech." Like, I love both of them so much. But are they like you can get a little bit like blown away by those names being there? But are they? You know what I'm trying to get.
They're boomers.
Active, have they?
They're boomers. It's awful.
I'm on the French crew, and I will admit that Sia or Tech, it's hard to expect. Baxon plays a bit more, but he plays for fun. Let's be honest. He plays to Falcon Punch people on ranked.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like tournaments, it's gonna be hard to tell. So I'm super excited to get the old crew back and running, and it's probably gonna be a fun show. And I'm super excited as a Tech fan to watch him play. But is it that overwhelming? Probably not.
Yeah, I think the Swiss crew is not going to be as overwhelmed as like a regular viewer would be. I think they know that they have a very good shot as well.
Yeah.
I think one of your players who's very interesting is Charlon. I love Charlon, and like I know he can do amazingly well. I think he did amazingly well like a tournament ago. I don't remember.
I always find Charlon's an interesting one though. He either does really well or he kind of
fizzles.
Yeah, it's an odd one with him, isn't it?
I think it's the French Stein, honestly.
The French Stein.
Yeah, or Stein is the Dutch Chalon. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
Unhaven, Mo, I've not heard anything from you on this. Where are you leaning here? Are we leaning that Swiss could take it, or is it just going to be clean in the French's favor?
I kind of feel like, as was it, Jim, you said like the French are kind of boomers, and like how well they have the net play experience, because this is a net play tournament. So I'm curious as how well like the French players do playing on net play compared to a bunch of these Swiss players that are like just grinding through the Schweeklies.
Unhaven?
Maybe I'm focusing too much on one data point, but the fact that Charlon's Marth was beating Jaraiden, that's just like, man, if they don't even need the other players to beat Jaraiden, that's I don't see a chance in heck.
Yeah, it's all on Jaraiden basically. Like Jaraiden has to take like 6 stocks or more.
So much on him, and then it's just like, oh, Charlon, who's not even the best player in the French team, if he just beats him, it's like, well.
Yeah, because
I feel like
even
the go ahead.
Yeah, I just meant that everyone on the Switzerland crew, like other than Jaraiden, is probably just gonna go even or probably lose. Like obviously they could also win games, but it's just more likely that like, you know, the French best player goes even with the Swiss best player, and then after that the French just win.
Who does Jaraiden want to end up playing then in that French squad? Like what is the, you know, like if you were the Swiss team and you're analyzing this, who are you wanting Jar to end up playing against? What are the favorable matchups for him there?
Probably me, I'll be honest. He does well against me, so if he can take me out before I do any work, like against the Spacies or whatever, then there's a chance he can destroy me as Luigi against Marth, you know?
But you'll have Charlon by your side, coaching you.
Yeah,
so.
Of course, but like if he has to play like Tech, that could be like go either way. Raoul could go either way. Cal6 with Falcon could go either way because it's Falcon. But he's historically super good against my Marth specifically. So I guess that would be like a dream scenario for him to 4-stock me or 3-stock me. Then they have a really good chance, you know, of just dominating the crew.
I think one point that I had was that if I think Tech would be the worst case scenario for Jaraiden. Like if Tech knows how the matchup is played, that's conditional on that, because otherwise he's going to get messed up. But I think it would be the worst case, or maybe even Seer. Maybe.
I think just matchup-wise, it is very possible for Luigi to like overwhelm Puff really quickly, which you wouldn't think because they're both like kind of slow, especially in the air. But like Luigi has some stuff, which is why you saw like Swedish Delight win a game against HBox playing Luigi, when his Sheik wasn't able to do that. So if Tech isn't super ready for the matchup, then Jaraiden can get a lot of mileage there. But that's a lot of ifs.
Matchup really well.
Yeah.
Maya, are these the so-called boomers? Which, if they're boomers, I'm like ultra boomer. Is Tech here? Do you think they are playing at all ready for this weekend, or is it just going to be a case of see how it goes?
I think Tech is pure instinct and pure talent, and he will perform no matter what. Maybe he will be nerfed by the fact that this year we don't have like uniforms and chance and
cheese and wine.
Yeah, so that's a shame. But Seer is the kind of guy that will pretend like, you know, I don't do shit about the game, I don't play, but you already know he's practicing tech skill 3 hours a day. That's just how he functions as a person. So I will be ready for Seer to be clean. Tech is a wild card. Baxen, I think, will be solid. And yeah, we'll see.
Let's do some voting then, panelists. Let's start off with the French. Who is leaning towards the French crew winning this encounter? Okay, so we've got 4 for France, which means to confirm, hands up if you're going for Switzerland.
We can't have everyone just vote the same crew every time.
dude,
and I truly believe they
I
can
feel
do
like
it.
you've just undermined the Swiss team there by just saying, "Oh, you just be nice."
Yeah, no, I
I
believe in
think
the boys.
are high enough to make it worth it to vote for them, you know? I'm putting my money on them. I'm believing in them.
Okay,
I think like objectively, this is one of the closest matchups we've seen so far.
I agree.
So
No,
like,
it is the closest one my year so far,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
it might be like a 35-65, give or take, right? Or like 45-55, that's 4-6. But even then, it's very doable for Switzerland.
Great. Okay, so that was 4-2 in favor of France. Let's move on to our second last matchup, which is now we're swinging back to Pool B. Pool B, by the way, if you look at the two pools, is the group of death. I think we can all agree on that. It is scary. It is, guys, the scariest.
It
is. So we're looking at a tier 1 team here versus tier 3 team. 7 o'clock CET this Saturday on BTS. We've got Sweden playing Ireland. Sweden, Ireland. Okay. Thoughts, panelists?
This one is going to be a wrap, I think. Because
Really?
Sweden, yeah.
What?
And even against Ireland being Ireland, I think Sweden is just like seed 1 of the tournament, right?
No, okay.
Two.
Let me make
Yeah.
my case here. This is
Nah.
I think that's incorrect.
Germany's tier 1. Germany's probably the first seed, I reckon.
Yeah, Germany
Let's
is
put it
100%
second.
seed.
England could
Okay,
even
so
be first.
here's the thing with Sweden. Sweden has always been the top dog in the European cruise, but they always had Leffen and Armada as the backup, right? Even in air, they came in like Darth Vader at the end or something.
Yeah, and Android. There's no Android here
No
either.
Android. So, and they always are there for the backup when they fail and they're left to their own devices. And I also have a little story about the Swedish crew. At Air 4, we had to play against the Sweden crew, their best crew, even with everyone in there. And AMSA had to help us because we were dying. And AMSA took 10 stocks, and the Swedish crew got shook, super shook. And I think they could. We barely lost, we sucked. But I think something like that can happen, and I think Mint could be the player to do that.
I can't see it.
I think Mint can go
He being
incredible.
Prof, Pipsqueak being Prof. There's so many good players, and like Prof is famously known for being good against Ices, whereas I don't think Mint actually doesn't have that experience. So Johnny Fight is also going to be extremely good against him. So there's too many players that are like, here's your best player. I mean, alongside Maxi, I'm not sure how.
But I would give my question mark there on Haven is John. Like you're talking about Johnny Fight. Is Johnny Fight even going to turn up for most of these matches? Like he's historically brilliant at the game, but also historically not very consistent at competing at the game. So I struggle to see if he's going to turn up at every event.
I would say I would counter that with Ice Climbers are historically inconsistent, yet being historically very good in crews. So could that not just shift it around? It's just like, well, you only need to do one thing really well.
Ross, I don't know if you'll agree, but I think potential-wise, at least, Johnny Fight is by far the best ice climbers in Europe. I think he's in the tier of his own.
Is the word you're looking for?
I would not mind it. Like the things I'll admit, I've played against Chudad, I've played against like this kid, but Johnny Fight, he's
something else.
He's so creative and so fast and so I don't know. He doesn't play ices like ices do.
Yeah, he actually plays the game. He doesn't just play ices. He plays the game super fast.
Yeah,
I'm super impressed by Johnny Fight, and I think he will do amazing in the cruise.
If he is actually competing in them.
True.
Yeah, but even without Johnny, I think Humpe's amazing. Pop Mice is amazing.
True.
It's like there's such a and like Egan, amazing.
I agree. So Sweden has the upper hand. If I had to like give the percentages, I would give Sweden like 70%. But I think we're like looking at the Ireland crew, and some people are just seeing 3 players, like 2 or maybe 3. They see Verdant, they know Verdant. I think people should not sleep on Luan. Like
Luan's getting bloody results at the moment.
Dude, he's won our last net play tournament. He beat half the Dutch players. He's gonna mess it. Sorry, I messed up.
His Fox is really technical as well. Like
yeah.
So what I'd say about Ireland as well, like you can tell I'm getting quite vocal here because I love my Irish boys, is that they do well in crews. They do really well in crews. Like they kind of punch above their weight. There was actually a lot of discussion in seeding whether France should be seeded below Ireland here. France, their last competitive match with Ireland, lost to Ireland. You've got, I think, double jigs is quite nasty as well. You've got Verdon, who does do well in crews, and Maxi, who, if anyone's thinking, oh, Maxi's been too inactive, he's still playing. He's still good. Mint just won Levo last week, I believe, unless I got that wrong. Lech Loan still good. So I think this is interesting. I think it depends on who actually turns up for the Swedish team as well. There's another interesting storyline there. Is like Popmeister is actually being coached by Maxi at the moment as well. So that could be quite interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I think we're writing off Ireland a bit too easily here.
I think it's also important, like the counter picks, right? So it's almost required that Pipsqueak plays Moxie. I think.
Is it? Because I think any of the 3 Mars could beat Maxi.
They could, but like how good? Like
I would say any of the 3 Mars would be favored against Maxi, especially Red and Ekim.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually think a lot of the strength of the Swedish crew is in the like lower half of their player list. Like Meaty and Red, especially Red, are so insanely good. Like you'll see the top half of the list and be like, yeah, well, if Pipsqueak isn't there, then maybe they're worse. But no, then you scroll down, and then there's these 2 Marth players who are actually insane. Like Red Blaze is so good that even if Pipsqueak might not play, I'd probably still favor Sweden, though it can like swing very quickly if Maxi or Verdun just goes crazy.
But even though Sweden has like such a big, strong team all the way through, it's still limited to 5 players. So yeah, they have the counter pick advantage, but still Mint and Maxi can be so strong.
Yeah,
So,
and the thing with the Irish team there as well is they were the first team to get their roster in, and like that just tells me that's a crew that is super up for it, and that will probably see their best players in every event, more or less. Like I don't think you're going to be necessarily like seeing the bottom end maybe of the Irish squad taking place. So I think you should judge it on like the best of Ireland tier playing who we see from Sweden.
Yeah, I can't help but look at it and go, I don't think, and I apologize to the Irish if I am forgetting people, but I don't see Ireland having good like ice climber practice nor Samus practice, and they're about to play the best 2 in Europe.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Does anyone know how active Dady has been or how much he's been playing?
Not a net play. I have no idea because he hasn't been taking part, has he?
I think he has
here and there, right?
weeklies.
Oh, does it? Oh, yeah, does it? He takes part in the Swedish stuff though, doesn't he? Sorry, I do apologize. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But
All right.
Not recently. I understand that Ireland is missing their best player, Johnny O'Kim.
that would be a very different discussion.
Just put him in on frame delay 4, and that'll be fine.
Right, let's do a
5.
vote here. Okay, who's just saying Sweden are taking this? Hands up for Sweden.
Oh, Sweden.
Okay, we've got 4 for Sweden, and hands up for the underdogs here. Who thinks Ireland's going to take it? I'm going for Ireland. I think they can do this. Like,
yeah, definitely want to go for Ireland.
Yeah, I'm going Ireland.
I'd like to vote for Sweden.
4 votes Sweden, 2 for Ireland.
I got him.
I'm trusting in the Irish. They can do this. They can do this. Okay, then. So before we go into our last matchup, and our last matchup is looking at the analysis of England versus Finland. I do have what I see as a pretty nice and exciting announcement, which is that Kone's Academy Okay, sorry about that, everyone. So just to announce there that Kone's Academy, for those who don't know what Kone's Academy is, it's a coaching service that I set up. It has some of the best coaches throughout Europe, currently offering one-to-one sessions, as well as a host of other extras as well. Kone's Academy is partnered with the S.A.M.E circuit. And for every circuit event, we'll be offering one-to-one coaching services as prizes. So for Valhalla, we have Maye, Nikki, Epic File, Rix, and Yappy, who's been a special guest coach, offering a one-to-one coaching lesson, which will take place at some point in February. We'll arrange that with the coach. And we're also offering 5 players a monthly pass to Kone's Academy, which means you'll be able to access all the live lessons that take place that month, as well as our VOD library. At the moment, we have about 96 students. It is 96 students, part of Kone's Academy, which means every month there's 96 live lessons, as well as those lessons being recorded and added to our VOD library, which is getting well over 120 now. Prices wise, just to have a little look at this, we've got a range of coaches there from the likes of Timmy through to Rixmore, Amsa, Loster, Fuzziness, Rev, Foster, Red Place, Ice, Mint, Jarryden, Maya, Epic File, and Maxi. And we're adding more and more as we go. And there's also the ability for consumers. This is a low tier option. You can just become a content consumer for €5 a month. You can access the Patreon and Discord and watch all lessons live and watch the VOD library. And right now in front of you, you can see some of our coaches. Mo is one of our coaches. Nikki is one of our coaches. And Maya is one of our coaches. And in fact, Unhaven is actually a student of the academy. And is being coached by Mo himself. Come on then, Unhaven. How are you finding these? We'll put you on the spot with Mo here. How are you finding this?
My sensei. I love it. No, it's actually amazing. I think whatever you're coming for, at the end of the day, bottom line is, even if the coach you pick isn't as good as you are with your character, like that's my case. At the end of the day, Mo plays DK and I play Ices, and I'm a decent player. Like I'm solid enough that I'm good enough, better with my character than he is. But actually having someone that can break down your thought process and just kind of have that general motivation that, okay, well, there's something you want to work on and you know you need to work on it. Having someone break that down with you and kind of help you commit to the work, I think is just immensely helpful by itself. So no matter who you pick, just having someone that's, and Mo's particularly good, so I'd recommend it. Yeah, but just having that dialogue with someone, having someone to break down your thoughts with, I think is immensely helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
go on, Nikki.
I would also like to say that just doing that once a month, like having that one scheduled event once every month is super helpful. And not just getting lazy and not really playing for 2 months and then you feel bad about yourself because you didn't really practice. Just like having that refresher every 4 weeks, where someone who's good at the game, who knows your character, who knows how you play, tells you what you should be working on for the next 4 weeks is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say even outside of the one-on-one kind of interaction, what I did not expect coming into the academy that I really enjoy seeing is all the students tend to, cheer on each other, and then we have the common room and people ask questions and people are like, oh, today I won this match and I lost this match. Oh, good job. You do better next time as well. It's like even just the mood and the general, friendship that's been created is worth it. And
it's lovely.
Yeah, it is lovely. So yeah, I think it's worth it no matter what your level is.
Yeah, and that's important there as well. As I think early on there was a lot of a perception that the academy was for if you just began, but it's definitely it is for those who are starting out, and we have those players. We've got those players who are just trying to push into their their national PRs, and then we've got 10 plus now who are actually in the top 50 ranked in Europe. So it's for a varied skill level, and at the same time, I am actually super proud of the community we've built. So if you are interested, check out patreon.com/Kone's Academy. And for the panelists, let's kind of move into our last matchup, which is the last match to be shown this Saturday on BTS, 8 o'clock CET. The big one is England, tier 1 ranked, versus Finland, tier 3. Oh, we can argue about the
Tier
score
3?
there for Finland. Tier 3. Tier 3. So remember, for tier 1, it was England and Sweden. Tier 2 was Norway and Austria. And then Finland, tier 3. Mainly because of results, okay? Previous results. So this is why group B is the group of death, really, because you've got that Sweden, England, Norway, Austria, and then the tier 3s were Ireland and Finland. Okay, so I think this is the spicy one. England, Finland. What do we think?
Main event for sure.
Main event, definitely, yeah.
100%. Because you have a team in Finland that could be an easy contender, tier 2 guaranteed. I think no one would even debate it.
No.
It could be a contender for tier 1. Like if you just look at the crew in terms of potential, not results, I would probably try to seed it as 1.5-ish.
Yeah.
So like that makes the pool so much more difficult. And this is for sure 100% the closest matchup we've seen so far. And I'm not even sure who to give the edge to. So I'm looking forward to watching it, but it's hard to have a call on that one.
I agree with that. I think this is going to be a slobber knocker. So like the result of this is going to determine the whole pool as well. I think like the whole results structure is based on this match. And Finland is such a nasty crew, and especially how they got Levingi in there as well at the last minute for that. I think that's cool.
I think major props to the call out by Mayhem, and major props to Levingi for coming together and coming together for Finland, because you add Levingi to that squad, you're like whoa, Finland are scary.
Yeah. I do have one problem with Finland, and that's that they're a bit too top heavy. So like compared to England has just like pretty good top all around, and I think Finland has a bit too much riding on Solo Battle and Levingi doing very well, and then Payu, Mayhem, Salavic, etc., and the rest, they have to clean it up.
I disagree. I think you're underestimating people like Ake, for instance, or Payu. I think Ake is like a mini riding, and he's really improving fast. And he's lacking a few things in his gameplay. It's like he's really good, but there's a few holes, and they're obvious to spot. The moment he fixes them, he's going to be a monster, and that could happen at any point. So do not sleep on Ake, in my opinion. And I think Mayhem is a monster as well. So like,
yeah, dude, but England has Prof, Frenzy, and Istzar.
Fair enough.
Istzar is such a beast. Like, he's
True.
Such a good addition for the English team, dude.
No, I agree. But the fact that they have Levingi, that it's okay. Let's take a second to appreciate that Levingi is in the Finnish team, because I did not expect it to happen, because they have whatever beef they have, doesn't matter to me. He's never been in any PRs, so now he's in the crew. That's amazing to me. I think the lineup is solid. It's solid enough to be hard to call at the very least.
So if Finland had like one more really good player, like one more player on the level of like, Fat Tino, because Tino is really good. Like from what Frenzy's telling me, Tino is super good, and he's not like that far away from being as good as Frenzy. So if they had like one more player on that level who could like beat Istar, for example, then I would probably like feel more confident giving it to the Finnish crew. But overall, I think the top 3 from the English team are like slightly better than the Finnish crew. And then also the rest of the English crew is probably also better than the rest of the Finnish crew. So while I think it is possible, especially if Solo Battle goes off, if like Prof, Frenzy, or Istra just beat Solo Battle, then it's over. And that can happen. And even if Solo Battle wins one of those matches, he still has to contend with all these other amazing English players. So I think England should have this one, unless one of the Spaceys chokes pretty hard.
So the choke thing's interesting, because this point I'd like to raise here is England don't have a good recent results in crews. And I think some of those players, and I'll be honest, I have seen the likes of Frenzy and Prof struggle a little bit in crews at times. Maybe the pressure getting to them. And actually, it's been VA historically who has kind of been the player who has helped England out. Obviously, he's no longer active. But then it's online, it's not offline. So maybe those players who, in the past have kind of felt the pressure of an air atmosphere on their shoulders, that's not there. So maybe the choking won't be so much of an issue now.
Dude, it's also NTSC, right? You have to remember that. Doesn't Finland play on Paul still, or did they?
No. That. It's been like a year now.
Oh, thank God.
I'm pretty sure at least 6 months to a year.
True.
Do you know what?
Game.
I'm going to spin this to Unhaven. Unhaven, you're not even on the crew, are you?
I'm not on the crew.
Don't have to rub it in like
Superior climber was chosen, apparently.
So in England, we've had this thing like where every time there's crews, it's either Alpha Dash or Unhaven, and I think if I'm right, Ross, you've never made it. Is
I always
so like
I don't understand. I don't get it. What do I need to do?
you deserve it.
To be fair, I do actually think, and to wipe this off record, but I do think Alpha Dash is probably better than me for a crew format because
He
I
likes
think
crews.
he plays. I know he likes crews, but I also think more importantly, the things that I'm good at as ICs, I think I'm way better at like the Falcon matchup and the sort of the Peach matchup. I'm better at like IC's weaknesses, but I'm not as dominant in their strengths. And I think because Alpha Dash plays that, more wobbling heavy style, when he comes across like the Sheik players that hate him, it's like, yep, I will go Sheik on FD and I will be very comfortable there. Whereas I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Ross, what about without wobbling?
Yeah, without wobbling.
I don't
think it's as good as you without wobbling. I'll be honest.
I'm very happy to hear you say that, and I'm not going to comment on
Just
that.
being honest. Just doing my job as an analyst.
Simultaneously, though, with the strength of the rest of the crew, I actually would be very surprised if me or Alpha Dash were ever used.
Yeah.
Like realistically, the strength of like Kingu, Modest Major, Max, Lawster, and that's ignoring the top three and Fatino. Like everyone's so good. It's like It's ultimately.
I think Kingu is actually a difference maker to the English crew. In that we've never had a jigs like that in our crew, and we've always been quite fast faller heavy, and then suddenly we've got this Kingu, interesting character, but who is very, very good, and I think could be a very good potential. Where VA used to be the starter for UK, I could see Kingu potentially taking that position in matchups.
My alternative for Kingu would be this theory. They save him as the solo battle Fox counterpick.
Maybe
that could work. Yeah.
We've seen how it went. He went 3-2 last game with him. It could be counterpick to kill solo battle, and then they still have Pro Frenzy and Istar.
Yeah, especially because Finland is one of the regions who's like actually has like the solo battle practice, right? So if any crew is like very solid against Puff, then it would be the Finnish crew. So like Kingu going Fox might just be a legitimately good play. So you can save like your top 3 players for everyone else, and then it should be free.
I think the hard thing about the England crew when I look at them is that maybe with Kingu aside, when you look at after the top 3, they actually have loads of choices that are just like, it's probably going to come down to just what matchup does that person prefer. Like Modest Major, he's also doing like, you mentioned how Nikki mentioned how well Tino's done against Frenzy, but Modest has also like went 3-2 with him. And came very close to beating him, and is now in this net play era gotten even better. So I don't know, it's really hard to say now.
And it doesn't. I know it doesn't matter massively for this matchup, but you look at someone like Lawster. You've got Lawster sitting there who is basically just going to be I imagine a pocket member of the squad who you just use in very specific matchups. But you look at like I think it was the last or second last Poilon event where he went on a run and he beat Meady, Maya, McKenzie, and he likes that matchup. Yeah. So it's not relevant to this one, but you've got that character diversity and depth that. You can bring that out as and when you need it. Where obviously we've kind of discussed that may be lacking a little bit with Finland. Mo, what's your feelings here?
I'm kind of curious as to how Finland will arrange their team, who they will go out with first, because especially Jigglypuff, solo battle is definitely, or I feel, probably their best player. And going for rest as Jigglypuff will most likely trade your stock, and trading stocks and crews can be really scary. So I'm curious as if Finland will save solo battle for their last matches so he can afford these stock trades, and if England will like counterpick that.
Yeah, what I think, like if you look at some of the solo battle like sick combos he's done, like if there's any Puff player who doesn't need rest, then it's probably him. So he can probably like just make you fear the rest so that people DI poorly and then he just kills you anyways. Like Solo Battle is amazing at finding rests, but I've seen too many amazing combos from him that don't involve rest. So I think Solo Battle is not as nerfed by the stock trade thing as other pop players might be.
Yeah, true.
And unlike Levo, this is going to be played in an actual normal time for him instead of 3 a.m. So
Yes.
maybe.
Oh yeah, England is like 2 hours ahead of Finland. Or
Yeah, other way
Yeah.
around. This
Other
later.
way around.
They always.
I do have one question though. If England sends Prof first, how does Finland beat that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How do they beat Puff period? Like they need Mayhem, Solo Battle, or Levingi to just like do very well against him and take
Do
at least
very,
three stocks.
very well.
Yeah, at least take 3 stocks. And I think that's already hard for Mayhem and like not that likely. And like even Solo Battle and Levingi are both not favored to win that. So
And if they send Solo Battle and he gets 3 stocks, which could happen, right? Because he's gonna be stage striking for first game, I assume. So a 3 stock from Prof on a Puff could happen. That's
yeah, and
it.
also
That's
there's
GG.
bans. Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
bans. So like Puff can't go Dreamland. I know Solo Battle doesn't even like necessarily love that stage too much. But like what does Puff strike against Fox? Like you're gonna have to go Stadium or FD either way. So the ban doesn't really help with the Puff, but it does help the Foxes a lot, for example.
I think Maya had a great point there, and Mo touched upon it as well. Which I think a lot of this is going to matter. Is going to come down to who actually starts for both teams.
Yeah,
I think if England sends Prof, I don't see how Finland responds safely. They have to gamble all in from the start, and you need the people like you need Levingi to go probably and to really, really be on a tear on that particular day. If it doesn't happen, it's GG from the first game, in my opinion.
Yeah, because you always have to consider what's the worst thing that could happen. And the worst thing that could happen for Finland is that England starts with Prof and just like 3 stocks someone. So Finland pretty much has to send in like Mayhem Solo Battle or probably like Solo Battle or Levingi first, just to make sure that doesn't happen. And then like it's still rough.
Yeah, if starting with a 3 stock deficit is basically a death sentence, both like mentally and just like it's so hard to overcome when your players are already down that way.
And it's probably going to snowball too because now you've lost. You've gotten 3 stock by Prof. Who do you send second? Who's not going to get 3 stocked again? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
then
that's really limiting.
immediately.
So, yeah.
I mean, Prof is also a very like hot or cold type of player. Like, I mean, he's still even at his worst, he's still probably like the best player on his crew. But at his worst, it's easier to like maybe have someone like Levingi beat him. You know, if he's not warmed up, Levingi just like lasers him a bunch, gets him riled up, and then Prof overcommits. That might happen. But if Prof is playing well, then it's a tough one.
Yeah. Also, if like we've seen Frenzy just lose to Puff like over and over just through getting tilted, and so like there is an outcome where Frenzy just gets blocked by Solo Battle. And I think that may be like the way we're talking about this, it feels like there's certain criteria that has to be met for Finland to come out on top. And it's Prof can't just destroy who goes in first. Like it has to be, you know, a good match the first game and recoverable. I think Frenzy does have to just lose the Solo Battle. Or maybe just like go even with a Levingi. Like if they can just trade. But if you trade Prof for Solo Battle and you trade Frenzy for Levingi, then I still think England are in a really good spot.
What do you guys think about Payu's speech?
Yeah, I was gonna
Pretty
say
good.
if Frenzy gets to play Payu instead, then it's probably not going to be close. I don't think Payu can take on Frenzy. Given his performance against Peach as a whole and against Striff in particular, I think Frenzy is amazing at the matchup. And I think England has too much of a counter pick advantage.
Yeah.
Now that I really look at it.
England has been famous at making terrible decisions during cruise.
Yeah.
They make the worst. They do just
true.
random, like they don't think about it. They're like, oh, I feel like
Who's the captain?
He's
Who's the
smiled
captain
nicely.
usually?
Let's do him.
Frenzy's normally the captain is Prof, but the captain this time is Frenzy. But
Yeah, I think that's gonna be
Good
a
idea.
Oh, yeah.
good check.
I'm
Way more
also like,
Frenzy.
it's also likelihood that you'll see the likes of like Fat Tino, Kingu, maybe Max, and some of these, you know, Modest Major. These are players who have no crew experience. So that I think in person, like offline, that may be a big factor. I'm not sure it'll be that much of a factor online, but there's still going to be pressure in crews, and none of those players have that experience. And it may have not felt that pressure before, being put in a very pivotal moment in the match where you have to perform. So it'll be interesting to see if they do react well, where really the top players in Finland, they've been in those positions before. They've got that experience.
Yeah, what I think we should also maybe talk about is kind of similar to how we did it with the Spanish crew, is what if England doesn't have prof? Because like maybe he has to like play League of Legends or something, and it's like can't play crews.
So Raka support.
Duty called. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but like if England doesn't have prof for whatever reason, is England still the favorite, like the favorite in this match, or do you think Finland then becomes the favorite?
I can't see prof not playing. Like,
yeah, but what if?
I know it's a what if. All right, Nicky, all right. What if?
I would call it a 6-4 Finland if Prof wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Or like
I agree,
55, 45, 6-4.
I'd still focus on England. I think their lower half, and I know like it is only 5x5, so it doesn't matter if you're all stronger, but they've got so much variety.
Yes, but I think if they don't have
coverage, they're all so strong that I'm like, man, I'd still, if you got rid of Prof, I'd still say England's lower half seem a lot stronger to me than Finland's lower half. Which could make a difference.
I just think that without Prof, solo battle could actually like go crazy and just take a bunch of stocks. Whereas if Prof is there, he's like, he just makes it so that there's like almost no chance solo battle takes like 10 stocks.
Kingu becomes very important. If you don't have Prof, then Kingu becomes very important. But if he does manage to do what he's shown he's able to, and then that's just hold him off. That's not like you have to beat him. It's just if you can do well enough and take 3 stocks.
Yeah,
it does seem like, well.
Ross, can you tell us a little bit about Max is Alex playing these days, like R23?
Yeah, he's not entered much, but he wasn't, in all honesty, until a few months ago. But he has started to play more so. I played him recently, and he still absolutely spanked me. He's still very, very good.
Fair enough.
Oh, you shouldn't laugh at that. You should be like, oh.
I'm sorry.
No, Alex is playing. Max is obviously playing.
Yep. And I'd say they're both pretty similar strength. Like when I've been playing, I played Max fairly recently, and he was beating me.
I've never heard of Max. I'll be honest. I've never heard of him.
He's just like King. He's another Kingu, who's just got unbelievably good, unbelievably quickly.
The sleepy generation. That's good.
Yeah. Should we do a bit of vote? I think we've got this about an hour and a half in now, and we did say that would be a lovely time to complete this in. I think we've done some great analysis here. So let's vote on the last one. Let's begin with England. Who is voting England to win this encounter? We have 4 for England, which means let's just confirm who is leaning towards Finland taking this. 2, that is Jim and Mo going for Finland. So I think in terms of this analysis show, I know the way we did this was kind of like most of them were kind of like a tier gap difference, so like tier 1, tier 3, tier 2, tier 4, and so forth for the first round of events. But I think this will get more interesting as we go on because it becomes more randomized event to event. Audience, if you enjoyed watching this, we would love to hear some feedback, whether that is on Twitter by following @Smash Europe. Okay, let us know what you thought. We're hoping to do these on a monthly basis, which I hope the lovely panel will return for that. Will you?
I'll be there.
Sure.
For sure.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll welcome everyone back in a month's time. We'll have a reflection at that point upon the predictions and see which panelists did better than others. And obviously, we will take the mick out of the panelists who did less well. There are some risky, I think, votes in the Switzerland, Ireland, and maybe Finland to a degree. But everyone who's watching, please tune in this weekend. We've got the crew matches taking place on Saturday. That is both International Crews and Battle of the Boroughs. For Valhalla on Sunday, we've got singles as well. This is the largest online EU event ever in Melee. This is our first major in the same circuit, and we'd obviously love a massive viewership this weekend for our first major, which will all be broadcast on BTS. And we've got side streams as well taking place on Phoenix Smash and Red Cap stream as well, which will all be broadcast to you. So I think we'll end there. We'll just say a nice little bye in order, I guess. So Jim Morrison, thank you very much, and I will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Unhaven, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mo, it has been lovely to have your company. We will see you next
Thank
time.
you. See you.
Nikki, a delight as always. Taran, good night.
Patreon.com/Kone's Academy.
Oh yeah, patreon.com/Kone's Academy. Thank you very much, Nikki. And lastly, Maye, again, it has been brilliant to have you, and I will see you next time as well. Maybe finish with a little bit of French, Maye, for us.
Merci, comme d'habitude, Ed, de m'inviter. Ça fait toujours plaisir. Et puis, à samedi déjà et au mois prochain.
Right, we'll end there, Nanai, and a big thank you, please, to Shays, who is the main streamer, owns and is the streamer for Phoenix Smash. He's done the announcement stream, and he has also done this stream as well, putting in the work for the circuit. Thank you, big kisses for you, please, Shays. Mwah. Thank you very much for running the stream, and night, everyone, and night to the audience as well. Ta-ra.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
ya.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Kone. Kone's Academy has partnered with the S.A.M.E circuit, and for every circuit event, we'll be offering one-to-one coaching services as prizes.